Welcome back to Prime News on HLN. Continuing our conversation, how young is too young for our kids to be on these social networking sites, MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, because we're hearing 10, 12 years old. The sites suggest 13 should be a start. Let's read a Facebook comment. It's from Holly. She says, my son was not allowed until he turned 18. Kids get enough socialization at school, church, and after-school activities. Makes a good point there, and I think a lot of people, it's tough to prove scientifically, but what is this doing to the social skills of our kids when all the conversations are typed out? You know, we'll talk about that. And also this point, that cyberbullying, we're exposing our kids to that on the social networking sites. So we're getting a report here, nearly half of all teenagers report they've been a victim of cyber attacks. I want to bring in Judi Westberg, president of WebWise Kids. That's frightening because that cyberbullying, sadly enough, has led to some teen suicides. Judi.
Oh, it's terribly tragic. It really is. And we've got to educate our kids on how to not become victims of cyberbullying and also how to not be a cyberbully. It's critical.
I mean, you're talking about the Megan Meyer case, obviously, 13-year-old who was bullied, it turns out, by a mom. The two friends had an argument, so the other friend's mom steps in. Just a horrible case there. Another 13-year-old Ryan Halligan, and the list goes on here. And when we talk about the bullying, let's bring in Dr. Linda Young on this, our psychologist. That's part of the social skills that concerns me, because when you can just type out an insult or type out the bullying, you never see the response. You never see the tears welling up, and we just lose all empathy. And I think you're turning, or the generation could just turn heartless. Your thoughts on that, Linda?
You're exactly right. That walled garden, that screen behind which you hide, keeps you from seeing the reaction of the other person. So it emboldens people, and not just kids. It emboldens adults too, to say things on blogs and on their email and all kinds of things. And so one of the things we really have to talk to the kids about in schools as well as in homes is how to think before they act and imagine that whatever they put online can be read by the entire world the second that it's there. But one of the other things that's most important to teach is just the pause between a stimulus and a response, so that impulse control becomes the main thing that needs to be learned during the teen years. And parents can teach it, and in school they can learn it. And I do think that it's all right to be on those social networks. Right. It's not that you should ban the entire medium. It's a place where people do good things, and they have wonderful ways of communicating. Linda,
can we teach that, though? I like the rule that if it's going to be a deep, heartfelt conversation, or if even as a teenager going to break up, that should be face-to-face or a phone call. It shouldn't be a one-line type, and you're just on with your life. I think that just breeds a selfishness.
Totally agree. No matter what age you are, if it's a deep, important conversation, face-to-face is the way to go. Not texting, not instant messenger, not online on a social network for other people to see. If it's going to be private, it's going to be important. If it's going to be emotional, doing it face-to-face is really the best way to go, and it always will be. So it's the idea of balancing time online with time in face-to-face communication. It's not strictly one or the other. We live in a world where both are going to be present. Yeah. It's not going to be taken away.
No, it's not going away.
Balance.
And Judi, what about that? Because some parents might hear some of these statistics and say, that's it, it's out. I mean, is that the way to go, or is it a strict monitoring and a partnering and an involvement from parents?
I don't believe that parents should yank their children off of the internet. Social networking sites are something a little different. I think that they should definitely have rules about how to use those sites and monitor what their kids are doing online. But we live in a cyber world, and we're not going to keep our children away. I mean, 20% of 5-year-olds are now online, and younger kids are being online. So the key is educating them to be their own first line of defense, educating the parents, and the parents can educate the kids.
Judi, real quick, I want to ask you, what age do you think, before we go? We're hearing 10, 12, the sites say 13. What is a safe age for a kid to be on a social networking site?
Well, I think that the sites say 13 for a very good reason.
You like that age?
I think that it's hard to determine an exact age because there are so many different factors. Yeah. But I can tell you the truth, and the truth is that tweens are not telling the truth, and they are going on those sites as early as age 10. Yeah. So it is our responsibility as a society to reach those kids with these messages and equip them to be their own first line of defense before they go on those sites.
You know, if 13, it seems like a decent benchmark, but that's 13 with involvement from parents and monitoring.
That's right.
parents. And John, that takes back to your point. We got to run. You like the idea of 13, but with strict parent involvement here?
Yeah, there has to be. Remember, their parents are always working. They're using this often enough as a digital babysitter, but they need to understand that this is a tool, and like all tools must be used with a degree of responsibility and supervision.
Yeah, okay. Guys, thanks. Great conversation. Hopefully we got the word out to some parents out there. Dr. Linda Young, John, Judy, we appreciate it. Coming up, actress Sandra Bullock and her husband Jesse James.